Hi guys, it's Cindy, aka Disney Queen. Today I'm going to talk to you about 10 essential items that I take with me on every trip, whether it's to Disney or somewhere else. So stay tuned. Hi guys, today I'm going to talk to you about 10 essential items that I take with me on most trips and especially to Disney. I know I've been talking about budgeting or how to save money when you go to Disney. For me, part of that savings is savings of time. And so what I tend to do before I leave is I do a checklist, and some items stay in my suitcase and I have with me no matter where I go, and then some items I add depending on where I'm going. And that saves me on time so that when I get to my destination, I set up certain things so that I can be comfortable, so that it can make my morning more efficient, because we're early in the park people. And so getting up in the morning and knowing where things are and not having to shuffle through our suitcase, that is a savings thing for me. So that is why it's part of this series. Some things are things that I use at the park. Some things are things that I use in our room to help us prepare before when we first check in and get into our room. And some things are just savings time wise or savings price wise. So stay tuned and I'll explain what some of those things are. Okay, one of the very first things that I always keep in my suitcase and that I pack on most trips, but especially when I go to Disney, is I carry an over-the-door hook. And the reason I do this is because most hotel rooms have a bathroom area where you can put the hook over. Sometimes they have a hook on the inside of the bathroom that you can put like a robe or something on. I always carry an extra hook because not every bathroom has a hook on it. And I know some of the Disney resorts have been upgraded, and so I'm not sure if they all have hooks now, but I carry my own hook. And this is a hook that I got from the Dollar Tree, so it only cost me $1. I have several of them and I keep them in my suitcase. So the reason I do this is the night before we leave for a trip, the night before we go into the parks, or even before any particular trip that we're on, I will have my outfit already out, ready to go on a hook, hanging up, so that in the morning all I have to do is get ready, grab my outfit, put it on, and I'm on my way. I'm not in my suitcase struggling to find something to wear. I already know the night before what I'm going to wear. So when we're getting up to go into the park at 6 a.m. and there are 4 of us in the room, this helps. At least my husband and I. My girls do what they want to do. That, how they pack and everything is up to them. But for my husband and I, our outfits are already ready to go. The next thing along that same line is I take a tiered hanger with me in my suitcase. It does go in my suitcase. I can, on occasion, I have packed the items on this and put it in a garment bag, but most of the time when we go to Disney, we tend to just put everything in our cubes. And then when we get to our destination, I do unpack. I'm one of those people that unpacks everything. And my husband does not like to wear shorts all the time. So sometimes he has shorts and sometimes he has pants. And so what I will do is I will put his pants on a rack like this, and that way I will overlap the pants and then I'll have the shirt. Now I actually have had this hanger for a little while. There is a newer hanger, pants hanger, or actually it might even be an older version, that is like this tiered, and it doesn't have it's not closed in like mine is. And that is actually even better, because what you can do is you can slip their bottoms onto the hanger and you can slip their shirt on top of that, and usually they're good for 3 or 4 days, and most people stay 3 or 4 days in the park. Then after those 3 days, those items will start to disappear and I can put a new item up there. But it saves on us, especially me having to look for stuff for my husband when it's time to go. I can just tell him, go look on the rack and you choose which outfit you want to wear. Now, sometimes we are actually matching, and when we are, that's when both of our outfits would be on the clothing hook. And like I said, that just saves us not having to worry about looking for stuff. And that morning when we can get up right away, grab our clothes, get dressed, and we are out the door headed to the park. Another thing that I take with us on every trip is a rain poncho and an umbrella. And I know everyone talks about taking a rain poncho or umbrella, and a lot of people will buy the ponchos in the park because they get caught in the rain. If you saw my earlier video, I said the one thing that people should always plan for is the weather, and sometimes we tend to not plan for the weather. But if you already have a poncho and an umbrella in your backpack, then you don't have to leave the park, one, so that saves on time, unless it's a monsoon, which if you guys have seen the news the last couple of weeks, I don't know what's going on down in Florida, but like it's been raining cats and dogs. But anyway, the one thing you don't have to worry about is you will already have your rain poncho and your umbrella with you. So one, it saves you on having to leave the parks, and you can still do some things if it's not pouring down. And two, it saves you money because you already had that item ahead of time, and you don't have to spend the $12 that it might even be $15 now, that you would have to pay for a poncho that one could tear, because even though they're $15 doesn't mean that they're necessarily any better than any other rain poncho. If you don't want to invest in a actual poncho, this particular poncho I brought because I didn't like the rain ponchos, and this is actually more like a rain jacket, but it goes. You can put it into its own pouch, and the pouch is actually the pocket that is a part of the rain poncho. And I've showed this before in, I think, in a birthday haul video, but it when you unfold it, see, that was the little pocket that was on it, and then it has a hood with a drawstring, and a pretty good drawstring, and it has a zip that goes down halfway. And this one just happens to have mini on it with my initials. And what I like about it is that it covers my whole bottom, and it gives a big pocket in the front that I can put things in, like my phone. If it rains right away and I get my poncho on, I can at least put my phone in here where I can still get to it. And then when it's all over, I can fold it up and put it away. Now, small thing that I always take with me to the parks are zipper bags. I take them to put food in. I take them to put our cooling rags in. But it's also good for putting your wet poncho in after the rain, so that you can put it back in your bag and it doesn't make everything else in your bag wet. So that is something that I also take. I also take little chip clips, and the reason I take those is because we tend to snack on things. And okay, let's say you don't finish a snack. Well, I'm still trying to save money, so I will fold up my snack and put it on the clip, and then it stays fresh and I can go back to eating it again later on. I mean, I know it seems like a small thing, but I'm telling you, especially for my first time Disney people, it's expensive. So you want to save where you can. Is that being a cheapskate? I don't know. But for me, if I've spent the money on it, I want it to, I don't want to waste it. And so I always take Ziploc bags because you can put food in it. You can put this on your chips or your popcorn. Like, let's say you buy one of the popcorn bags from Disney and you start eating it. Well, you don't want the popcorn to go stale. If you have a little clip in your bag, then you're good to go. Now, another thing, a must for me, is a charger for my phone. And the reason I say that is, yes, you can go to a station. They have little places where you can plug in your phone if it starts to go down. Because let's face facts, when you go to Disney, you're going to take pictures. You're going to be on Instagram. You're going to be on Facebook. You're going to want to go live, and that wears your battery on your phone down. So the best thing to do is to have a battery charger with you so that you don't have to leave the park. Time saved, people. And you don't have to sit somewhere waiting for your battery to charge. Basically what I do is I have a little pocket on my bag, whichever bag it is. I stick that down in there. I stick my charger on my phone. I put it down in there. If I see a picture that I want to take while I'm still charging, at least it's attached. One thing for sure, don't forget your cord. It's still attached. I can take the picture, but my phone is charging. And this battery, my son actually gave me, and it lasts a very long time. It has like 3 lights on it, and it'll charge, and then it'll start to go down. But for the most part, it lasts me all day. And then when we get back to the room at night, we just recharge this and recharge my phone, and I'm ready for the next day. Another that I do not go without is hand sanitizer. And you're wondering, why are you mentioning hand sanitizer when you're talking about savings and a budget? Okay, people, the last thing you want to do when you get to Disney is to get sick. And there are a lot of germs at Disney. So it's important to take medications with you that you might need. It's important to wash your hands. It's important to sanitize your hands. If you can, take some little sanitizer wipes, wipe things down. I know for some people that's extreme, and some people say, hey, let the babies get the bugs so that they can be immune to stuff. But it does not hurt to have some hand sanitizer. Even if, because especially like if you get somewhere, you ever been to the bathroom and then there is no toilet paper or no soap, you're gonna want some hand sanitizer. I'm just saying. And this little one, I think I got it from like Target, and it was a Minnie Mouse one. And I just keep it attached to my bag, and I just keep on moving. One thing I forgot in relations to your room, this is just an extra that I do. We pack all of our stuff in packing cubes, but when I get to the room, I do take things out of my cubes except for like my underclothing and socks and things like that I will put in one of the drawers. And I keep it in the cube, and then I just fold it over, the flap over, so that you can easily get to it. And that way my husband, again, time saved. He knows exactly which cube is his. He knows that if he goes to that cube, his socks, his underwear, his undershirt, all of that items will be there. One of the other things that we did on our last trip is we took one of these foldable cubes. It's like a little pocket cube, and it has like a little thing to keep it sturdy. And each of us had our own little cube. And I got these from the Dollar Tree, and so it was only $1. It folds down great. Like I said, it just folds. But what we did was, instead of having toiletry items out on the sink, because we stayed at the All-Star Sports, and it's not a lot of counter space, so each of us had our own cube that we put all of our toiletry items in, our toiletry bag, and each day, whoever was in the bathroom at the time, they could just grab their cube with all of their stuff in it. And then when they were done, they put their stuff back in the cube, put it back up on the shelf, and it was together. It didn't look messy, and it saved on time because you didn't have to go looking for items, or you didn't have to worry about items being all over the place, or somebody else's stuff was in your way, which kind of slowed you down. For us, efficiency is very important when we are going to the parks, because we are in there first thing in the morning. We might take a break in the afternoon, and so we also want to come back to a fairly decent room. That's just a personal thing. So when we come back, the beds are made. Our stuff isn't all over the place, so that the workers have to, housekeeping has to work around our things. Like again, that's just me. I'm probably a little obsessive. I will even make my bed before I leave, even though I know that they're going to straighten it up even more. But I just don't like to leave behind a messy room. No offense to anybody else. I know when you're in a hurry, sometimes that happens. It happens when I'm at home, but for some reason when I'm on vacation, I'm forever cleaning stuff up. So we always take this. And this has been one tip that once I did it, I do it now no matter where we go, because it just saves me some time. The last 2 items are items that I take in the park, And one of those items is I don't go without a fan. I used to have one of those little small hand zoom fans, and it did a good job. But I saw someone on Instagram talk about this particular fan and how well it worked. It has, I believe it has, I can never find the button when I need it. Ah, why is that? Where the heck is the button? Hold, please. Wow. Button is in the front. It has a couple of speeds. It has 3 speeds, and oh my goodness. I used this for a family reunion for the first time. I haven't used it at the parks, but it was hot that day when we had our family reunion. And I was a coordinator, and I was running around like a crazy person. And even though we had an air-conditioned room, it started to get hot in the kitchen. And I started walking around with this fan. I had taken it just to try it out. It was a lifesaver. So I know if it did me well at the family reunion, it will do me well at the parks. And again, you say, okay, so Cindy, what does this have to do with savings? Again, time saving. If I can get cooled off, 1, I won't get overheated. 2, I don't necessarily have to leave the parks because it's gotten too hot. Let's say I'm only an hour away from my last fast pass and the heat is crazy. Okay, you use this. By the time you hit the little waiting area to go into the ride, you're not as hot as you could have been. You've cooled down a little bit, which means you don't act like you're crazy because you're hot and tired and sweating. And it just makes for an enjoyable trip for my family if mama is not hot. And that's all I'm going to say on that subject. The last thing on my list is I don't go without a insulated water bottle. And the reason I say that is because most of the time when you go, it is hot. And you want to keep hydrated. And you want to be able to have water when you need it. You can go to just about any quick station and ask for a cup of ice with some water and they will give it to you. But to keep that water cold while you are walking around the parks, I suggest the insulated cup. And I also suggest a cup with a wider top so that you can actually put the ice in it and put the water in it. And I mean, you can get they're really expensive insulated cups, but for the most part, if you find a good insulated cup, it will keep your water cold, if not all day, at least for the time, for a large part of the time that you're at the parks. So this is something that we keep on us. We always have a water bottle of some kind that's insulated to help to keep us hydrated and cool down. Again, lifesaver, time saver, because last thing you want to do is get heat stroke. I've done it before, not at Disney because I always drink my water, but I have been out in the heat and had gotten sick. And so if you keep hydrated, if you keep water for your family, that is a savings in that it keeps you from your vacation from getting ruined, the vacation that you spent all this money on. So that's just a few tips that I have for things that are a must for us when we go to the parks. Tell me below what are some of your favorites. If you like this video, please give it a thumbs up. If you haven't subscribed, what are you waiting for? And if you want to know when more of my videos come out, all you have to do is hit the little notification bell below. So until I see you the next time, I hope you have a blessed day. Bye.